Situation. Today I'm excited to tell you that we are going to be making homemade bread, and we're going to make it on my stovetop. That's right, on the stovetop. This is a bread that in an SHTF situation that you can cook on your camp stove, you can cook on an open fire, and I'm not sure about a rocket stove. It needs to be on low heat. So any low heat device you have, you can cook this on. So before we get into this video, if you don't mind, go ahead and reach up and hit that subscribe button. It helps me out greatly and I appreciate it. So let me turn you around and get you all set up and we'll get into making this homemade bread. Okay guys, this is what we're going to need. You're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to need a ½ cup of milk. You're going to have warm milk. 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1½ teaspoons of dry active yeast. Quick active yeast. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And you're going to need 1/4 of a cup plus 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. And you're going to need a ½ teaspoon of salt. Alright, let's get started getting this bread put together. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your milk is warm, not hot. You don't want to be too hot or it'll kill the yeast. So some warm milk. This is a ½ cup. I've got 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to pour it on in there. I also need to add 1½ teaspoons of yeast. If you have not been prepping yeast or flour, I suggest that you might want to add that to your list. Alright, so here's a ½ teaspoon and 1 teaspoon. Gonna give this a little stir. Then we're gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes. Alright. I also wanted to show you what I used for milk. I did use the Gosner shelf-stable milk. If you have powdered milk, you can use that as well. While we're waiting on our yeast to rise and get bubbly and all that, I have 2 cups of flour in the bowl. This is all-purpose flour. We're just going to sprinkle in there a ½ teaspoon of salt. We're going to give that a mix. Get it all combined down in there. Because I don't know if you know or not, but sugar feeds the yeast and salt kills it. So you don't ever want to put your yeast directly on top of your salt unless you have the sugar. Alright, now that that's combined well, we're going to take and we're going to pour our yeast mixture. You see it's getting bubbly and frothy. So we're just going to pour this in. And kind of like stir it into a dough. Fold it in there. The great thing about this recipe, there's no kneading involved, so anyone out there that might have shoulder problems or just any kind of mobility problems, this would be a great recipe for them. You don't have to use a Dutch oven. You can use a regular pan, making it less heavy. This is just a great recipe to have. Alright, now I'm going to get 1/4 cup of water, and then in a little bowl I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water so we can finish out this dough. Alright, now I've got some warm water in here. Just pour part of it in. Work it in. And as you work it, it may get drier and drier, and that's what this water is for. We're technically going to be steaming this bread is what is actually happening. Okay, it's starting to get more dry. So I have just a little bit left. I'm going to pour it on in there. The dough to me is almost like a consistency of like a, not quite as stiff, but it's kind of a stiff texture to me. It's not light and airy as if you were to make a homemade bread and used your stand mixer and kneaded it or hand kneaded it for hours. It's just got a little stronger consistency. All right, and as you can see, the consistency of the dough. So now we're gonna take and I'm just gonna drizzle some olive oil over the top. Spread it around. My hands are clean. I'm gonna drizzle just a little on the top of this side, just a little bit. We're just kind of like coating it. All right. Now I'm gonna put some press and seal on top of it, or you can put plastic wrap. Okay, now that I got it covered with either plastic wrap, press and seal, whatever you have, I'm gonna set this in a warm place and let it sit for 1 to 2 hours or until it doubles in size, and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, it has been 2 hours. Let's take a look and let's see what our dough looks like. Ooh, there you go. As you can see, it's doubled in size. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour on the board. Then I'm gonna pour my dough out onto the board. Then we're just gonna press it down. Fold it in and press. Fold in and press. Fold in and press. Fold in and press. Fold in. Can you see? Thought I was out of view. All right, now we're just gonna kind of bring it together. We want to form a ball. I'm not real good at this part. So, there we go. Got us a nice ball made. All right. All right, guys. Now you want to take your pot. This is just a regular non-stick pot. You want to either butter the inside of it or you want to oil it. Then you're going to take your little dough and we're going to set it inside. Move this out of the way. We're going to set it inside like that, and we're going to put the lid on it and we're going to let it sit for an hour. I'll bring you back in an hour. All right guys, it's been an hour. As you can see, our dough has risen again. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to brush some, you can either put oil, or butter, or ghee. I'm using ghee. Ghee is delicious if you've never had it. Just going to brush it over the top. And then I'm just going to put a little X in it. We're going to put the lid on. Put it on your burner. I've got my burner set on 3.5. I'll keep an eye on it. You want it to have it on like a medium low. And we're going to cook it for 40 minutes. And in 40 minutes, we'll come back and check it. All right. It's been 40 minutes. Let me get you a little bit closer. Let's see if we can see better. It's been 40 minutes, so let's take the lid off, pour it over. I'm excited. Ooh, look at that. And put it back in the pan. Ooh, look at that. Yes. So now we're going to put the lid back on. And we're going to cook it for about 25 more minutes. And then we're going to come on back and check it again. Alright guys, it's been in here for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to check it and see how it looks. looky there. Look at that, y'all. Now I'm just gonna dust it with some what's left in on my brush of the ghee that I spread on it, and I'm gonna set it on the rack to cool. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to slice it. Would you look at that, y'all? I am proud of that bread. See if I can get it more in the. There we go. Look at that. Listen to it. Beautiful, beautiful. Let me slice it. Ooh. Look at that, light and airy. Ooh, y'all, this was easy. It did take about total time, I'd say about 4.5 hours. Most of that time was rising times. No, it wasn't 4.5 hours. It was 3 hours rising time. And yeah, about 4.5 hours with the 40 minutes and then the 30 minutes. Yeah. So y'all, this is a easy peasy bread, no knead, cooked on your stovetop. And give it a try. SHTF bread, y'all.